Hello guys, welcome from wherever you are in this world. Welcome to my new series of videos. In this inaugural video, I will feature Temenos Design Studio with the award-winning core banking software T24 release R17. The Temenos Design Studio in T24 release 17 has been revamped completely and is set to take its place as one of the best tools for T24 development and management. Temenos built this on top of Eclipse IDE, and as you will see later, T24 Design Studio is the best thing that ever happened to T24. So in the following series of videos, you will come to understand why. Please allow me to clarify that I have provided this to the public for general knowledge only and for educational purposes. It's not intended to be viewed as comprehensive learning material for Temenos Design Studio. However, if you need more information on how you can acquire Design Studio, please leave a message in the comment section. To start us off in this first video, I'll give you a quick introduction to Temenos Design Studio and show you why it will be better you start using it now rather than later. When Temenos redesigned its core banking system from C language runtime to Java runtime, they created a new T24 which runs on a Java framework. They called it TAF-J, spelled as TAF-J. Now, this obviously opened the floodgates for open source development, utilities, and applications used within the Temenos T24 core banking ecosystem. As I've mentioned earlier, it is on Eclipse that Temenos built its design studio. As you will know later, Eclipse is a world-known open source Java IDE with numerous capabilities to take in endless plugins or library. With this new Java development, you will need to understand that you can do so many things in T24. Key of which, first, Design Studio will become the first-hand IDE for designing and developing Temenos T24 programs and components and user experience. You can write your source code in the T24 JBC language, which, when compiled, produces Java object code. Technically then, it also means that you can also write your T24 directly using Java. Some of the designers in the Design Studio include the JBC Designer, which is used for writing, validating, and compiling JBC code. The Menu Designer for designing the Temenos T24 menus. The Inquiry Designer, which is used for designing reports, lists. Screen Designer, which is used for designing versions of forms, data input forms, or composite screens and tabs. Web Service Designer, Integration Designer, and so on and so forth. Secondly, Design Studio now brings Eclipse third-party capabilities for source control management, issue tracking, and packaging. This means that component changes can now be managed via SourceF. And the nicest thing about it, Design Studio uses Maven. Maven is a proven project management and comprehensive tool which not only provides capabilities for build lifecycle framework, but also helps in automating the project's build infrastructure in almost no time, and it uses a standard directory layout and a default build lifecycle. So let us dive straight in and talk while we walk. You can see from the directory structure of Design Studio, you will notice directories such as plugins and T24 binaries. These are the part of the artifact repository and extensions that make up the various Temenos Design Studio models, or what we can call simply as designers. So let us open Design Studio and get started. So I'll open from my shortcut. I choose my workspace. I can close my presentation so that I remain with Design Studio. So if you look at this, is the layout, the default clean layout of a Design Studio project or environment. So at this moment, we don't have any project. That's why everything here is quite empty. And just to describe to you what these sections represent, this left side is the package explorer. This is where you'll be viewing all the projects and the server properties. Okay, all the projects that are defined and their subdirectories will be viewed inside the package explorer. And of course, we have the menus, then we have the toolbars. Okay, and then this area here is normally called the editor window. We can have multiple types of editors being used in this area. Okay, and down here we have properties and views. You can see here we can view server properties, you can see problems. We'll be able to see other properties like console screen outputs, error outputs, and so on and so forth, depending on what project and what editor we are using. Having started our Design Studio, let's dive in straight and create a new project. So you'd normally go to File, New, then select Project, and scroll down until you find Design Studio. Select Design Studio Template Projects, and then click Next. Over here, we'll choose a default template. We'll choose the TAF-J packager template. I'll explain why this is necessary. Let's maximize this. So these are the default settings that will enable this project to connect to the Temenos core banking system. We have the web server port, the T24 username and password, in this case for the inputter and also for an authorizer user. We have some of the default settings here that need to be filled in. We want it to pick from the defaults that are there in the TAF-J configuration file or the project configuration file. Let's give this project a new name because these are just pre-filled for us. So maybe we could call this our Design Studio Test, for instance. Okay, so this is all that we need. I click Finish, and then it will create it. So we have all our models created. The project is ready. Okay, and if you scroll a little bit to look at the models here, you'll see that most of the T24 applications are now represented. They have already been introspected. Introspection is a process by which when you create a new project, it needs to read um, all the domains of T24 applications right into the Design Studio. But because we selected a default template which already has introspection done, so we've had to skip this process. So this is of good help to us. This basically shows you the various T24 application models also, and we can go ahead and create our own folders within here where we can create our own specific objects. So I could start maybe under SRC. I could create my own folder called let's call it new create a folder. I would call it maybe source code. I'll call it source.bp. We normally use the term BP to mean basic programs. Well, it's a practice rather than a convention. It's not mandatory. Okay. Then, so that's my working directory that I'm going to use to create my objects, my source code, and other things. We have the T24 server connections here. Let's test the connection and see if it is working. Actually, before we even do the testing of the connection, you actually need to toggle between the TAF-J and Design Studio properties, so as to be able to find the TAF-J properties, server properties, sorry, so that we can test the connection. So what I will do is select Design Studio mode, and I'll be able to see the server properties. So based on the settings that we entered earlier, you can see here that actually we managed, based on the settings, the username and password and the web server and the host name, it was able to find the T24 environment running. And I think if you wanted to know, you can see my database is running, and my JBoss is running, so it's connected to the T24 environment, and that's the reason why it's showing active. If it were not active, this will show inactive status. And normally when it's inactive, you'll come and select the green button here to start or restart it. Okay, if you want to stop it, select the red button here. Okay, so we can see that we are connected, we are up, we are talking to T24. We can try a few things. Maybe one of the first things I need to do as a learning source, I'll go back to my source folder, and I'll probably first switch into the TAF-J mode. Then I select my source folder. Then what you need to do, these projects need to be also switched into TAF-J mode. You right click on the project and select toggle TAF-J project nature. Okay, sometime if you do that, you'd have to rekey in the project, the TAF-J home folder, which I already had. I know it, so I just go and finish. Okay, that will refresh. Okay, and so we are done with setting up the environment. You can see we are all connected, everything is okay now. So one of the things you should notice is that once the project is set in TAF-J mode, you will see the icon for the project change to indicate that it's now in TAF-J mode. So inside TAF-J mode, we are able to create our code straight away. We are done with setting up the environment for TAF-J, and I think let's just dive in and create a simple, humble routine to demonstrate capabilities that you can do when you're writing code. So what I'll do is select my folder where I want to create the source code, and then I'll right click and select new T24 routine component test case. I click and give it a name. So in this case, I just want to give it a simple name like hello, to symbolize a hello world program. Click finish. So we have our JBC editor ready to receive our source code. As you can see, the source code is normally postfixed with .b at the end to indicate this is basic code, and you can see it's already having some of the environment settings available for us to use the JBC environment. You can see on the right side we have macros. You can insert macros. You will see that shortly when I demo to you. So first thing, maybe let me just do a simple display on screen. So just a CRT hello world of JBC programming, for example. Okay. And then we save this. When you save, it attempts to compile this program. So let's click save, or you can press Ctrl S as the shortcut. Okay. So you can see the compilation is finished, and yeah, we have an error, but this is an error, a packaging error, so we won't be concerned with this at this particular time, but at least the compilation of the code is completed. And if we switch to our directory where this code or Java code is generated, we will be able to observe this. Go under TAF-J home, classes, Temenos T24, and here we have our Java class code, which is, this is what we actually deploy into T24. Okay, so I switch back. So we won't want to mind about this at this particular time, but normally if you want this to be switched off, you need to right click on the directory of this source and select put on or take off the DUNSCAP to avoid seeing this package error. Other things that you can do here quickly, you can select the code and format it so that it comes out nicely in the JBC format. So you go under JBC, right click, JBC editor, and select format code. It will do nice indents accordingly. Like I indicated earlier, we have macros here. If you wanted to do a selection from a file in T24 to give you a list or to do a loop or such kind of things, we have predefined macros here which can reduce your programming time. For instance, if you wanted to do a select from a table in T24, I would click this and write the name of the table, for instance bnk.account. Click OK, and the code will be pasted here right away. That's nice, right? Okay. So of course, maybe before that you need to open the file. So we could say open file bnk.account, and everything is placed for you up to here. So this is lovely. It saves a lot of programming time. And I can format this, JBC editor, format. So basically, this is just the short part of the programming with JBC, right? Maybe what I need to switch into straight away is to show you some of the other designers. Let's try an inquiry. But before that, let me just show you the secret to Design Studio is in the number of designers that they have created to assist you in doing most of this design work. If you select on the project, and then we go to project properties, and then you select Design Studio. Let's just make it bigger, and we select code generation, and you expand this. You will notice the number of cartridges that Temenos has added as part of the designers framework. So we have here the T24 models, which is what we're currently using. That's helping us to do the code to create T24 designs like inquiries, composite screens, and so on. We have other designs for interaction framework, and so on and so forth. This is the heart of Design Studio. Okay, so let me dive in straight and create a simple inquiry so that we are able to know the power that's actually contained in Design Studio. And to do that, I need to just toggle to Design Studio, Designer. Then I'll right click my project and select New and go to Inquiry. Okay, so let's say I want to call my inquiry as account list, for instance. Okay, I'll select the application. I type here account because there will be too many. So this is the one, the T24 application. Select OK, and then I'll give my account list a header, list of current accounts, as an example. I'll click next. Here it presents to me the fields which are available in the inquiry field. So I can pick whichever that I need. Maybe I need my inquiry to have the account number. Okay, I want the inquiry to have the account title. I need the list to have the currency, so I'll come here and type currency to just filter down, select it. I need it to show me the product category. It should be category. Okay, is this all for my case? Well, I could say that this is enough for my listing. I click finish. So this will open the designer screen. You see all the fields that we selected, they are here. Look at the various tabs with the various settings that you can configure. I go to presentation. I can go ahead and make certain changes on the inquiry as required. For instance, remember I said that I need to see a list of current accounts. So the table or file for current account for accounts normally will contain everything, but I just want to filter down for current account. So I would go under data selection and define a predefined selection. Predefined selection is a type of selection which the user has no intervention on, and it's normally like a pre-selection that is done before the inquiry is displayed. So the user has no influence whatsoever in what value should be there. So it's used when you want to have a specific fixed output that user has no control over. So because we want to limit our inquiry to only current accounts, so then we need to define this, and I'll click add, and I know that to do this I will do my filter by category. Okay, and select OK, and then when you select it, when you select this, you will find properties, and the properties will give you the field name and what operand you want to use. In my case, my operand will be a range, for instance, between. So look for between, and my values, I know that the range that I want to use, so double click or select this to drop down. My range will be between 1000 and maybe 1003, for instance, and I click OK. So that's done for my predefined. I might also want to limit this to only local currency, so I could add another, let's say, currency, so that I don't provide that option to the user to select. So I will click on this to see the properties, and the properties are here. We have currency. What's the operand? I just want equals to my currency, my local currency, which is restricted to, for instance, USD. I could use any currency here. You could add multiple currencies here, like GBP or any other. So you want your list of current accounts that are in USD and GBP only. Remember, this is a pre-selection, predefined selection. Now, if you want to give the user an option to do a selection by specific fields, you use the custom selection here. So when you click that, again, it gives you the option for the fields to incorporate here. So here maybe, yeah, well, I may not have an option that's remaining here to try and have the user to do a selection. But what I can do, I can remove this currency over here and let the user at least select by currency. So we come here, select currency. Remember, I've removed currency under the prefixed. So the user will have this option. Come down, select the properties currency. What operands do you want the user to use when he's selecting currency? So this is the option. I may want them to use the equal operand only and nothing else. Okay. And is this field for currency selection mandatory, so that the user must enter a value when he wants to do his selection? Maybe not. So I'll let it as false. Okay. And probably that's it for my inquiry selection. We don't need to do the other tabs for now, because this was just a quick definition of how to create an inquiry. So what we do is we will save this first of all. Okay, and once we have saved it, we'll right click on it to deploy it to T24. So this is our inquiry created under our source code directory. I'll right click on it and I'll go to Design Studio and I'll say generate code, and it will tell me that it's successfully generated. So I need to go into T24 to see if I can execute this inquiry and see how it looks like. So the name is called ac.list. So I'll switch to T24. I don't have T24 running, so I'll start my Firefox and open T24. I log into T24 and I'll try and run the inquiry, and here it is. You can see here that our custom selection has come with only equal sign, so there's no other option that the user can use here, and it's not mandatory, so meaning that we can just click find and our output will come out. So let's click find and see what will come out, and there we go. We had account name, account number, account name, currency, and category. So this is beautiful. So this is how easy Design Studio makes designing T24 components. So basically, this is one of the things I was trying to tell you earlier, that Design Studio is one of the best things that ever happened to T24. And I think it's said to be one of the greatest tool moving forward. I can almost predict that some of the things that we're going to have in the future will be great. I foresee a number of things happening. For instance, we could have Design Studio in future give us capabilities to format delivery advices and deal slip, rules engine designing. In short, I foresee Design Studio becoming the focal point in almost all design aspects that we've always done from T24, from creating source code, creating inquiries, designing composite screens, versions, local reference fields, and so on and so forth. Of course, we are already able to do local ref fields, composite screens, tabs, menus. So what's really remaining? So this ends my first video, guys. As you can see, there's so much we can talk about the Temenos Design Studio. Let us meet in the next video. If you like my video, please leave a comment. Bye, and let's see you next time.